Hello, everybody. This is Stephanie. I'm in group 4, and this is our fourth presentation, and I am the summarizer. This is the title of the first article we read, From Trump to Brexit. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. How today's politicians have gotten away with words. An overall view of this article, it talks about very numerous amount of politicians, not just from the US, but from other countries, and gives an example of kind of the rhetoric they use, how it appeals to the audience, like what it looks like, that kind of thing, and how they use it. The first and second paragraphs kind of set the tone for this article. They discuss rhetoric and political language, or like how they're used, I guess you could say. The second paragraph specifically mentions how our generation is quote unquote children of the Enlightenment. And the author later, Mark Thompson, the author, he later explained that this meant that everything said to our generation, whether it be in a political campaign, you're talking to your friends, your teacher says something, you hear something from, I don't know, a philosopher or something like that, we always evaluate it below the surface level. We're always critically thinking about it really deeply. We don't just hear something and go, okay, cool. We always dive in and want to know more about it. We dissect it, that kind of thing. So that's what he has called us, children of the Enlightenment. Paragraphs 3 through 8. These paragraphs discuss different political occurrences that happened in 2016. Keep in mind, I also did the research slideshow for this, for these articles. And so that was when the article was written, was in 2016. And that was a presidential election year, like I said, in the last video and everything like that. So he takes time to really discuss what politically was going on, more specifically, not just like in the world. Paragraph 5 mentions the term public language, and public language is the language used to discuss politics or policies. When you look at that word public language, it kind of is like, oh, language to the public, but no, it's more focused on politics or the policies that are in place for a country. A quote from Mark Thompson, the author: "Those super short sentences emphasize certainty and determination, but build up layer by layer towards a climax with a kind of emotional logic." So what he was talking about in this was a term he used called parataxis, and which I mentioned in the research video as well. The definition is in his quote, actually. They're super short sentences, but like he said, they do emphasize certainty. If you don't have much to say it with authority, I guess. But yeah, talking to the center, the rhetoric of Trump's Republican Party. This one was written by a woman named Rachel. I don't really know how to say her last name, so we're just gonna call her Rachel. In paragraph 1, she talks about Trump very specifically in his distinctive rhetoric style. His speaking style truly separates him from the Democratic Party, which she talks about a lot. In the second paragraph, Trump's writing style is bold and to the point. This paragraph points out Trump's racist rhetoric. She did put a quote in there by Trump, but I didn't really feel comfortable putting it in the slideshow, which, kind of proves her point that he does kind of partake in racist rhetoric a little bit. But yeah, she did give a quote in there if you want to read the article yourself. Paragraph 3 talks about Trump's background, mentions his previous use of rhetoric. So he is obviously, as I'm sure you all know, he was and is a very big business guy, is a big deal. And she talks about him and his past, and then where he's used rhetoric in the past as well with his past jobs. Paragraph 4, Trump had a specific people group he was trying to reach in the 2016 election. You can see this through his word choice and the type of rhetoric he used. The people he was trying to get to the most or reach the most was the working class, the blue collar, if you will, and they were the mass majority, and it said in this article that all of Trump's speeches were at a, I want to say she said a fourth grade reading level, versus other politicians like Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz and even Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden. All of them use at least an eighth grade reading level in their speeches. And so he was trying to impact or get to a very specific audience that he thought would get him the most votes in the election. Paragraphs 11 and 12, both of these talk about bias. Both parties, she talks about both Democrats and Republicans, and how and she gives examples of bias in their speeches and the bias rhetoric that they use. Y'all's first question, how does rhetoric influence society through what politicians say? Second one, how can bias affect the rhetoric of a politician? And that is it. Thank you so much for watching.